Hello and welcome to the Super Awesome Mix podcast. I am Samra Abuselbi and I'm joined by my co-host and co-founder, Matt Sidholm. Matt, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm excited to be on the show today.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes. You know, I have to admit that you are... I have to admit that I actually did not prepare an introduction for you, even though you are our guest on today's mixtape.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate.
It is. And I know almost nothing about you.
Oh, well, that's part of the charm of the show, I think, is that there's a little bit of mystery about who I am, what I'm about, all of that.
Right.
So probably best to keep it that way, I think.
Yeah. In fact, we should just end recording right here because today's mix is actually your Desert Island mix. And I feel that that's a very revealing mixtape to walk through.
I think it can be. Yeah, it can be. Or it could not be, right? Or it could just be a very elaborate hoax, the whole thing. Like the first season of Lost, right? And,
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm very excited to have you on the show today. This was actually one of our more requested mixes to walk through, which was your Desert Island mix, which I got to admit makes me a little jealous because I feel I played my cards wrong by doing that first. You know, I should not have opened the season with my Desert Island mix because now there's no intrigue.
Well, here's the thing. Admittedly, I go back to the TV series Lost that I just referenced. We didn't have a plan when we started this podcast, right? So we started it with your Desert Island mix, and that's been far and away our most popular episode. So give yourself a little credit that everybody loves that episode. But yeah, as a result on social media, people are like, well, when are we going to get Matt's Desert Island mix? So here it is. We're doing it.
We are doing it. And that's a really good segue to note that you can actually listen to these mixes, not only this one, but all the previous episodes by visiting the show notes. In there, we always have a link to at least Spotify, and sometimes we have mixes hosted as well on Apple Music and on YouTube Music. I'm starting to go back and add some of those in, which is very much like making a super awesome mix for an event, by the way. You can hand out a mixtape, and we host that mix on those 3 very popular music services so that no matter who your guests use to listen to music, they can almost always find it on their preferred music choice. So I've been going back and adding a lot of those links there so that you can always listen to the music because, again, unfortunately, we cannot play them on the podcast. We really wish we could, but we just can't.
Yeah, we get that question a lot, like, why don't you guys play the songs? And it just comes back to copyright issues, and we're trying different things. We really are making efforts to try to see if we can make that work at some point. But for the time being, you can go listen to the mix. I've talked to some listeners who kind of toggle back and forth between listening to our podcast and then going over and listening to the songs on the mix as well.
Yeah, for sure. There's a number of ways you can do it. With that, let's get into your mix. I'm going to be introducing all of Matt's 12 songs here. I hope every single one is worthy of you being stuck on an island for the rest of your life. And you're not going to get sick of them. Because, again, the other thing I'll note before we get into this, when we started this podcast, as Matt mentioned a moment ago, we really did not have a plan. It was kind of on a whim. We jumped into a recording studio online, of course, and recorded it. And so I put my list together maybe overnight. I mean, it was pretty fast. I was running on instinct mostly, and I was like, yeah, this will work, and so on. Still pretty happy about it. There's no regrets. However, it was so funny because I've been asking Matt to put this mix together for like 24 of these last 28 episodes. And he just kept coming back to me, but I'm still working on it. So I had I got a lot of high hopes for this one. I think you did a good job, but let's see. We're going to start with opening track by Dave Matthews, solo, by the way, not Dave Matthews Band. You've got So Damn Lucky. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, this was my wife and I's song at our wedding. This is the song we danced to. Yes.
I love that.
So I had to lead off the mix with that one because I imagine if I was trapped on a desert island, I would miss her, and I would just think of I would play this song over and over. But yes, I'm very lucky that I have her, and I think I would probably be a lesser person without her. I will say that.
I love that, and you are already kind of a less. No, I'm just joking.
Look, I'm not bringing a lot to the table to begin with, right?
Right.
So that's why I'm lucky that she kind of tolerates what I do bring to the table.
Sure.
And, yeah.
Yeah. No, this is great. It's a lovely song. I was kind of laughing to myself because I think it's great that Dave Matthews' solo work is just Dave Matthews, of course, but then his band is the Dave Matthews Band, and I just have to wonder what it's like to be a member of his band, being named after the lead singer of the band. It's kind of
and there's other instruments played on his solo album, so clearly he's not playing all the instruments. So this is like the secondary Dave Matthews Band. Right? It's like some sort of B team, but he's like, yeah, but I'm not going to name you guys. And it's like, yeah, you don't name us anyway. It's like, right.
Exactly.
But I'm not even going to even mention that there's a band. It's just me.
It's just me. This is it.
Yeah.
This is my solo work. I love
this is it. But I think this is the first time we've had Dave Matthews or Dave Matthews Band on any of the mixes, right?
I think so, yeah. Which is kind of surprising because, I mean, he's obviously like a hugely successful artist. Kind of polarizing is my take.
A little
on him.
Polarizing, yeah. There have been times where it's a little bit not cool to like Dave Matthews Band. But you know what? I think they make really good music. Some of the live versions will ramble a little bit, but by and large, I think it's pretty good stuff.
I agree. I like this one. This was a good one. Really sweet story too. Obviously, all about appreciating, his life and his relationship. It was like a near accident he almost got into, and he feels very lucky that it didn't go for the worse. So yeah, great opening. Let's take it on to track 2 here. You've got a George Strait song. I knew there was going to be country on the mix. Check that bingo box. And you've got his song Love Without End, which is actually a really beautiful song. Like the lyrics are really nice. So tell me about this one.
Yeah, this was one that I look back and think I probably should have included this on our Father's Day mix.
Right.
But, it's about the love that father has for his children. And I've got 2 kids and I love them. And I think I would want them to think about how much I love them when I'm trapped on this desert island. And this just makes me think of my kids. Yeah. So that's really what it is.
I like it. Yeah, that's great. It is a really like a lovely song. I've been really trying to listen more to country and especially old country, because with more of an appreciation for the story being told and less kind of judging the sound, because I've just come to I don't like a lot of the country sound, but I think it's a really good medium for some really great storytelling. So that's kind of been my new light on country. I'm coming around to it.
Yeah, I would say the older country was so good lyrically at telling stories and describing situations, and I think there's a lot of well-written country songs out there. A lot of the more recent country songs, and I know we're going to probably do a new music mix soon. I think it's going to be hard to find some new country that I'm really into, because it sounds much more like pop music now, and just not as, not as substantial lyrically as some of the older stuff is.
I think there's a really great TikTok meme, if you haven't seen it, and I'm gonna butcher what it was, but I want to say it was all male country songs is beer, beer, truck, truck, something like that.
I have seen that. Yes, it is pretty funny. Yes. And then isn't the female country songs I'm gonna kill that guy for cheating on me?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah. That is a funny one.
That's great. All right. If you did have a bingo card set up for this podcast, for this Desert Island mix, you can go ahead and check this one. We've got a Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, and you've got Growin' Up.
Yeah, so Growin' Up is probably my favorite Bruce Springsteen song, and it's off one of his earlier albums, but this version in particular, I put a live version on here, which was done in 1978, so a few years after the song was released on a studio album. And the part I love is the part in the middle where he's kind of telling this story from growing up and being a part of a lawsuit. And, he has this one line where he's talking about how his mom always wanted him to be an author because he's a good writer. And he says, you know, you can get a little something. You can get a little something. Then his dad's like, no, I should be a lawyer, and he can get a little something. You know, that'd be good. And then he kind of pauses and says, what they didn't realize is I wanted everything. And I thought that's such a cool line. And in the live setting, the crowd just goes nuts when he says that, you know. And then he kind of follows it up with, you know, one wanted me to be an author, one wanted me to be a lawyer, but tonight you're going to have to settle for rock and roll. And it's just kind of this cool little interstitial in the middle of the song that you don't get the studio version. That's just kind of a live thing that he used to run through. But I just think that's such a cool, you know, kind of gets you fired up. And yeah, it's just a cool little story that he tells there.
Yeah, I really appreciated that, actually. You know, listening to the whole way through and then having that interlude. I liked the story. I even, you know, I laughed at the beginning of it because he mentioned when, like, the lawyer took a look at him, he was like, oh my gosh, like, I have to like, I have to defend this guy, you know, because I guess he mentions he's dressed just like he was dressed on stage. And yeah, then he tells this great story and it ends like that, and then he goes right into this, like, hard, you know, this, like, kind of rock sound right after he delivers that line, and it was really nice. It's great to listen to.
Yeah, and if you Google old pictures, like 1970s Bruce Springsteen pictures, I mean, he had almost like a Willie Nelson look. Had the super long hair and the facial hair. I mean, you know, probably got pegged as some sort of dirty hippie at one point in time.
Right. All right, this is great. Let's go on to track 4. Just an iconic song by Billy Joel, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, I love Billy Joel. This is my favorite Billy Joel song, and I think it's a lot of people's favorite Billy Joel song. But it's, you know, it's all about catching up with a friend, eating great food, and those are two things that I love and I've been fortunate enough to do. I mean, certainly, you know, COVID got in the way of travel in the last year or so, but prior to that, certainly traveling around and meeting up with people, or not traveling around and just meeting up with friends in the area. But that's two of my favorite things, and I just love how this song just describes that kind of meeting at a restaurant, and then you immediately go into catching up on people. And he does such a good job of the music changes throughout this song, and the lyrics sort of match the changes, but it paints such a great picture of, you know, catching up with an old friend and just the different phases you go to, and then it just sort of fades out at the end. So I just think it's so well done, and just a tremendous song.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's great. It definitely sets like a scene. It's almost like, I mean, it's a scene from an Italian restaurant. He does a good job of setting the scene. Yeah, it's like a little vignette in a way, you know? It's like you listen to the song and you could play a little movie in your head as you listen to it. And I just imagine as you're on this desert island, it'd be nice to reminisce about the times that you are, you know, eating at a restaurant, because presumably you're living off of, I don't know, coconuts. I don't know what the local foliage is.
Yeah,
some
maybe
bananas,
possibly some fish if I get good at fishing.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, that's great. All right. All right. Track 5. Mood Shift, for sure.
Yeah.
And I had not heard this song or known this artist, but I'm obsessed. So it is. It is I Go to Work by Kool Moe Dee.
Yeah, so I love 80s rap music, you know, so Kool Moe Dee, Big Daddy Kane, Eric B. and Rakim, like all that kind of stuff. I love those songs. And this is probably my favorite one of them. So I just remember hearing this as a kid. This was probably one of the first rap songs I ever heard after like maybe Run DMC or something like that. And still gets me fired up today. You know, I mean, it's a really cool song. In recent years, I think if you're familiar with the movie Love and Basketball, they play this song in like one of the early basketball scenes, because I think that one starts off with them playing basketball sometime in the 1980s. But yeah, I just think I love that era of rap music, which I know it's dating myself, but it's very early in that genre. But I just think this is an awesome song, and just describes, you know, just working hard, which I think we can all relate to, and is never a bad thing.
Yeah, no, this is so good. I also just commented on, like, the lyrical work here is outstanding. Like, it's just an incredible. I'm gonna, like, in no way do this, you know, do this properly, but like some of the lines that really stood out to me were like, "I go to work like an architect. I build a rhyme. Sometimes it climbs so erect. Skyscrapers look like atoms. Cars, electrons rolling in patterns." Like just really rich imagery. You know that he's like his lyrical work is so good that he's like building a skyscraper to the point that even cars look like atoms like rolling around it. You know, and just like what rich imagery. And he delivers it in such an interesting way. Like, you definitely have to go listen to this song. Again, you can find our mixes in the show notes. So good. Thank you for introducing me to this. I love it.
No, and there's so much. I mean, I love Kool Moe Dee has so many great songs like that, and there's just I think, you know, lyrically he's great, and he also had like kind of a back and forth with LL Cool J back in the day, and obviously LL has gone on to do a million things. He hosts every award show, but right. Yeah, I mean that's also really funny to hear. You know, go back and listen to some of those songs where they're going at each other in different raps. It's pretty cool.
Nice. All right, halfway point, track 6. You've got Donna and Blitzen by Badly Drawn Boy. Tell me about that one.
So another mood shift. This is from the soundtrack to About a Boy, which was entirely done by Badly Drawn Boy. And I think I've mentioned that soundtrack before, maybe on the mix, or maybe we've just talked about it. But yeah, so I love that entire soundtrack. But this song in particular, I think is just such a, you know, nice little love song, but it's also a Christmas song, right? There's sort of a Christmas theme to it. And I remember putting it on a mix for my now wife, then girlfriend. And she kind of was like, that's a really nice song. She's like, was that like a Christmas song? Did you sneak a Christmas song in there? I said, yeah. So it's this very subtle Christmas song. But I'd imagine when I'm on a desert island, I would want to sort of mark the time. And I'd want a Christmas song somewhere in there. And so I picked this one.
It's a really good one. Yeah, I like that it's kind of subtle, you know, and it's not something a little bit more explicitly Christmas, but it's great. It's so funny. So About a Boy is Sarah's favorite book, and then also I think she loves the movie as well. And I started playing this, you know, as I do whenever I'm prepping for a recording. And she was in the kitchen, and all of a sudden she just materialized out of the kitchen and started karaokeing and dancing to this song. So she's a huge fan.
It's such, that whole soundtrack, it works so well. The movie is great. The book, I mean, everything like that.
Yeah.
It was such a well done package of things. Yes.
Very nice. All right. Track 7 is a band that I love, and so I was really happy to see this on here because obviously this mix is all about me because everything's about me. All right, track 7, Pork and Beans by Weezer.
Yeah, so I would love Weezer as well. A lot of great Weezer songs, but I picked this one just because I love the sentiment of, you know, he's pretty much screaming at the end, you know, I don't care. I don't care what you think. You know, it's kind of about accepting yourself. Reading the background of this, it seems like he was kind of called in by his record company and was like, hey, you need to make some more commercial hits. And he was just kind of like, screw you. And he goes and writes this song, and it ends up being a commercial hit. But really the intent was almost like an FU to the record company. So kind of ironic how that worked out. I can also see this song being something played, like if you're doing the montage of me figuring out life on the island. Like the beginning of this song is me like, you know, falling out of a tree as I'm trying to retrieve something. I'm knocking myself out after trying to break up a coconut, you know. And then by the end of it, the song really gets going, and it shows me really figuring things out on this island. So that's the imagery that I had while listening to this too, is I could see that being very well done and kind of playing out on the island that way.
That's great. We keep referencing our desire to build a movie studio as part of Super Awesome Mix, and so I think we're gonna have to option that too. Each of our desert island movies.
Oh, that's a great call. Yeah, or you know, maybe we could write a musical.
Oh, great. Yeah, I love that. Maybe the twist at the end could be that we're on the same island and we had no idea.
Oh, that's good. Well, we kind of just gave it away, but yeah, that's true. Good. Someday when Lin-Manuel Miranda joins us on the show, we'll have to talk to him afterwards and get him on board with this.
I agree. Yeah.
Desert Island Mix musical. Yeah.
I mean, he's queued up as a guest on the show. I don't know how far along he's in that queue.
You know, we're scheduling so far in advance. I mean, It's going to be a little bit. He's trying to time it out with, you know, some of his projects, but
right.
You know, he's on the list. Yeah,
he's on the list for sure. All right, let's go to track 8. Another kind of mood shift, a very different track than everything else. So very interested to hear the story on this one. It is titled Karn Evil 9: Second Impression, and this is by Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Yeah, well, it's actually First Impression Part 2. Okay, now that's key.
Got it, right.
Because,
yes.
Okay, so Karn Evil 9. So on this Emerson, Lake and Palmer album called Brain Salad Surgery, they did this. It's a total of 30 minutes, this Carnival thing that has a first impression that's broken up into 2 parts, a second impression that's broken up into 2 parts, and then a third impression. Now, if you listen to the whole thing at once, you know, you're going to do your Google 1970s and drug use, right? Because it's super weird overall. And then you've got this part 2 in the middle of it. And I remember hearing the song like on a classic rock station or something like that when I was younger. And it immediately like caught my ear. Like I love all the different instruments that they use in the song. So I think musically it's really cool. I like the lyrics are pretty neat as well, describing this really out there kind of carnival scene. I just think it's an amazing song. And at some point on the desert island, I'll probably start hallucinating about one thing or another. And you need a super weird 70s prog rock song to go along with that. Yeah.
Yes, I think that is a critical part. Either just through, you know, the lack of human contact, or maybe you ate some berries that have a hallucinogenic.
Yeah, I'm testing out the foliage. I'm like, all right, something here's got to be edible, right? Yeah.
That's great. No, yeah, really, really great song. I should go back and listen to all those various parts. I imagine altogether it's quite the tapestry.
It is, and it's super weird. And you'll notice if you listen to this song and then listen to the whole thing, there's elements of the song that are kind of peppered throughout the whole thing, you know, motifs, if you will, that sort of come back again and again. But it's super weird. So
right.
I'm admitting that right off. So if you go and listen to it and you're like, well, that was kind of weird. I mean, you know, I warned you. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's fair. Let's go to track 9, which is not a super weird one. This is definitely I imagine a lot of our listeners know this song. Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie. One of my all-time favorites by these two.
Yeah, I completely agree. This is just one of my all-time favorite songs. One of those songs where the words and the lyrics, the music and the lyrics just match up perfectly, right? They do a really good job of, you know, implying tension with the music, and then the lyrics, and you know, there's screaming, there's ups and downs, like you feel pressure. And again, going back to the desert island scenario, you're going to feel a little pressure at some point, right? Like
yes.
I'm going to get hungry come day 3, and it's like, I got to figure this out. Okay.
Right. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. Great addition to the track, or to the mix. I would probably be playing this one just like a whole lot over and over. I don't think you could really tire of this song, because it's so, I don't know, it's got so much variance in it, even just in this one song. It's like, it's musically so interesting. And these two, I mean, they were just absolute geniuses. You know, Freddie Mercury and David Bowie, complete musical geniuses. Incredible that they got together to do a track, honestly.
Yeah, I realized when putting together this mix between like Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, Carnival, and then Under Pressure, I was like, those are 3 songs where the music fluctuates quite a bit throughout. Mm-hmm. And I wondered what that said about me, but I did notice that like 3 of my top songs were like these kind of wild rides, you know, musically. Not a lot of consistency throughout, but very enjoyable nonetheless.
That's like a good summation of every time you call me.
It's just this insane stream of consciousness, and then it all ends up where it's like, well, that wasn't so bad, but God, what just happened? Yeah.
Overall, very enjoyable.
Overall, very enjoyable. Yeah.
All right. Home stretch here. Track 10, Thank the Lord for the Nighttime by Neil Diamond. We've had Neil on the show a couple times now, so but never this track. And this is a great one. This is a really good one by him. So tell me about this one.
Yeah, this was a real. I love Neil Diamond. Obviously, I've mentioned him on the show before. Yeah, I'm a bit of a night owl. Like I love being up late at night, and yeah, I don't know. And so this song, it kind of speaks to me in that sense. Also talks about how he doesn't really like his job. Like he just can't wait to get, off of work and then go see his lady friend. And so, yeah, I mean, I kind of feel the same way sometimes, it's like instead of working, I'd rather be off doing something else and
for sure.
seeing the ones I love. But yeah, I think it's an upbeat song, and it's a great one for the night owls out there.
I like it, yeah, and it has like almost like a Motown feel to it. It's interesting, like it's really, yeah, musically it's like a really fun kind of peppy song, and yeah, looking forward to the after work hours. I love it.
Yeah,
Very nice.
it could be redone by the right kind of soul group and still hold up. Like you could
Mm-hmm.
create a really cool version of this with a different band.
I agree. All right, track 11, "Human" by the Killers. I love the Killers. Did not know that you were a fan, so tell me about this then.
Yeah, I am a fan, and I realized I think this is the first Killer song that's been
Yes.
on the mix,
Yeah.
right? Which
Yeah.
is wild because I think they have so many great songs.
They do.
Yeah, I am a fan. I love this one. It's funny when I was kind of researching a little bit. I guess it's considered one of the more confusing lyrics of all time, which is, are we human or are we dancer, right?
Yes.
But I read one critic's review that described this song in particular as a combination of New Order and Bruce Springsteen. So I thought that was so funny and I didn't know that when I picked this song, but I think it's funny that it's kind of thrown into that genre. Maybe that's why I like this so much. But I think it's a really cool song lyrically and talks about all sorts of feelings and emotions and how they've played different roles in one's life. And, I think it's sort of it's a fun dance song, but it's also lyrically a little reflective. And I feel like, again, stuck on a desert island, I would probably be in a reflective mood.
I agree. Yes, you can spend the rest of your days pondering: Are we human, or are we dancer? I think you can, get closer to the answer than maybe any of us could.
Yeah, going back to the hallucination reference, right? At a certain point, I would
Right.
start to wonder, what is going on, right? Am I even human
Yeah.
anymore? Yeah.
Right. I really love that line. I mean, it's so interesting to me because it really is like such an iconic lyric, and I think everyone can like immediately sing it when they hear it. And yeah, it's like so hotly debated. It's I could imagine there being somewhere in the world a college course titled "Are We Human or Are We Dancer?" in like a philosophy department, and you could have a bunch of students debating this and interpreting it and coming up with some really cool answers.
That would be yeah, I wonder if someone could write like a whole PhD thesis around that question, and become a PhD in philosophy just based on that.
I like it. Yes. If you've written that, be sure to DM us.
Reach out. We may not have you on the
Yeah.
show because it might be too weird, but, we definitely want to read that paper.
We really do. Yeah. All right. Track 12, last track on your mix. You've got "Waitin' on a Friend" by the Rolling Stones. What an appropriately titled last track to a desert island mix. Tell me about it.
Well, that's exactly what I had in mind. I love this Rolling Stone song. I don't know how, popular it is among the diehard Rolling Stone fans, but, I'm sure we'll hear about it, on our comments. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just think this is the perfect song when you're on a desert island. You are just kind of waiting on a friend. And I think going back to our musical idea, if we were to find out we weren't the only ones on the island while this song's playing in the background, I mean
There it is.
there
Yeah.
it is, right? Like there's
love that.
your big crescendo moment at the end of the show. But no, I just think it's a really cool song. It's got a real laid back vibe to it, and yeah, I think it's a cool song about friendship.
It is. I don't think I had heard this one, but really enjoyed it. I love the Rolling Stones. and I will add this to my repertoire of the other songs that I love from them. Would you say actually this is your favorite Stones songs, or it's just that you wanted to use this one because of the nature of the song?
I think it might be my favorite Rolling Stones song. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I think
That's
so.
Awesome.
I mean, and admittedly, I have not done the deep dive, and I couldn't name you every Rolling Stone song. It's
Sure.
it's kind of like the Beatles. I'll throw on the Beatles station on, Sirius XM or whatever, and there's always a song that I'm like, I've never heard this before. Just
Right.
a huge catalog. So by no means I've heard every Rolling Stone song, but I would say this is probably at the top for me.
Very nice. All right. Well, thank you, Matt, for coming on the show and making such a wonderful desert island mix.
It was great to be here. I mean, I've just, a long-time listener. I mean, I'm a big fan, and, just you guys, you're doing the Lord's work, so keep it up.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Well, you can find more of Matt's work at Super Awesome Mix on Instagram. He, his partner actually posts there. He doesn't, but you could, you kind of, it represents both of our feelings, let's say. But yes, check us out on Instagram and online, superawesomemix.com. Learn more about our event cards. We've got already being sent out to some birthday parties and some weddings. It's really, really fun. Cannot wait to see us show up in more events. So superawesomemix.com and click on Make Your Mix or on the Events tab, and you'll find out more information there. Thank you again, Matt, for coming on the show. And so for me and for Matt, this has been another super awesome mix. Take care, everyone.